with our Attorney General at Eric_Schmitt is where you can find him on Twitter. He joins us now. Eric Schmitt, the Attorney General of the great state of Missouri. Eric, good morning. Welcome to Morning Line.
Good morning, Tim. It's great to be on with you. Congrats on this show. It's great.
Yeah, fantastic. Eric, thank you. And we appreciate you joining us here in the Bible Belt, the cradle of conservatism here in Southwest Missouri. Eric, first of all, before we get to some of the negativity, tell me your thoughts and impressions on Amy Coney Barrett. She seems to be a very striking figure, incredibly competent. How exciting was it to watch Donald Trump appoint his third justice to the highest court in the land?
I mean, it's incredible, and that's what was on the line in 2016, and I remember running statewide in 16, and Roy Blunt would talk about that, but the next president, whoever it was going to be, was going to have for sure one, probably two, and maybe three Supreme Court justices to pick, and that's exactly what happened. And, among conservative circles, Tim, she's been a rock star. From the moment she was a professor at Notre Dame and clerked for Scalia, but in that confirmation for her to go on the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, and Dianne Feinstein, said that dogma lives loudly within you, and as a Roman Catholic, and I know you are too, it was just so offensive. But the punchline is she's an incredible jurist, a legal trailblazer, the first sitting justice, a mom of school-age children. And for me, I also have school-age children, I know as you do, and I have a son with special needs, and so does now Justice Barrett. And so I just think it's such a home run. I mean, she's been one of my favorites. It's just an incredible, incredible pick, and she's going to be great on that court for decades to come.
Speaking to Missouri's Attorney General Eric Schmitt, his official Twitter feed at AG Eric Schmitt or at Eric_Schmitt as well. Eric, you said something that caught me off guard. You said when I was running for office 4 years ago, I can't believe it. Yeah, Eric, it's been 4 years. It's gone fast, but yet slow at the same time. Here we are. You're standing for re-election. And before we get to some of the other items, you got a big announcement today, right? I think you and the other statewides are embarking on a little journey this morning.
Yeah, so we are doing a statewide bus tour. Yesterday we were in Jefferson City and Columbia, Missouri, and Troy, made our way to St. Charles County, down to Arnold, and then today we're headed to Cape Girardeau right now, and Sykeston and Dexter, and then we'll be in Southwest Missouri. I mean, nobody's taking anything for granted. And one of the great things about running for office is that you get to meet so many great people along the way. And I have to tell you, Tim, the enthusiasm on the ground is real. And I would say that the last couple of weeks, something has happened that's really positive. I just feel like we've got so much energy. You see the crowds at the president's rallies, and then you see, these empty circles at the Biden events and a pumpkin patch. It's just, and I'll tell you too, driving along the highways and the byways, I've seen more signs for firewood than I have for Joe Biden in Missouri. I feel like the energy is there, and we are just set up for a great election day 6 days from now. That's my hope.
Yeah, Eric, I know signs don't vote, but people do, and the people are the ones obviously putting these signs up. And Eric, I had that same feeling last night. I traveled down to Carthage from Springfield to meet with our House Budget Chairman, Cody Smith, and Curtis Trent. And, it's about an hour from Springfield to Carthage, and you go through a lot of little highways and byways. You roll through a lot of little towns. Eric, are you seeing the same thing? You're seeing the official as well as the handmade signs for the president, right? Everybody for Trump, farmers for Trump, people, workers for Trump.
Yeah, it's the it's the organic stuff. I remember in 2016 seeing people had sheets that they had painted Trump for president, or you see it on bales of hay. Somebody wrapping a bale of hay with the Trump sign on it, or people paying for Trump merchandise, or in places like the Lake of the Ozarks or Table Rock Lake this summer. These organic boat parades. I mean, that is what's in. Look, we'll find out next Tuesday, but the truth is, the candidate for president who has the most energy behind he or she is the one that usually wins. And I don't even think that's a close call. I know we've got 6 or 7 real battleground states it's going to probably come down to. But if you just, that energy you feel on the crowds, it's definitely picked up, and I feel like there's a lot of really positive momentum.
Eric, let's talk about some of the work you've been doing for Missourians over the last 4 years as Attorney General. The last several, you've shown, Eric, that political folks, politicians, public servants, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. You've been a huge advocate when you were in the state Senate, as well as now, for criminal justice reform. But you've also listened to Missourians, I truly believe, on this issue of law and order, of safety and security. There's been nobody I've seen in the state who's been more out front on fighting violent crime in our urban areas. Eric, is the issue of safety and security, of law and order, you're out talking to the people, obviously this week, all over the state of Missouri. Is that an issue that's important to them as we head into one of the most important elections in our nation's history?
Absolutely. It's front of mind for people, and it doesn't matter where you live. We're all Missourians, and what affects one part of the state affects other parts of the state. And you simply just can't have, St. Louis and Kansas City in particular being, consistently ranked as two of the most dangerous cities in America. It's unacceptable. People deserve to feel safe in their communities. And one of my jobs as Attorney General is to help do that. Now, we're dealing with, local prosecutors in some of these jurisdictions that aren't interested in fighting violent crime. And although we don't typically have original jurisdiction, we've created this unique partnership, the first of its kind in the country, with federal prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office, to have some of our lawyers deputized as assistant U.S. attorneys to fight violent crime in St. Louis and Kansas City. And that includes carjackings resulting in death, these big drug distribution rings, assaulting law enforcement officers. We're going to stand up for the rule of law. People expect that. For all of this to work, for people to be able to pursue their dreams, to live a good life, to get a good education at a base level, we have to have safety. We have to have law and order. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I think when you really break it down, there's a lot of common ground on that issue, and we've made it, a real centerpiece of my administration to go in and work with these federal prosecutors, to work with local prosecutors, to work with law enforcement. I mean, we busted up just yesterday, Tim, our anti-human trafficking task force. We're working day and night to make sure people are safe, and we're going to continue to do that.
Mr. Attorney General, this is Jason, the news director. Good to talk to you again. In fact, I just saw you last week at the police station here in town when you were announcing the funding that have come in for the sexual assault test kits. We reported on that, but I wanted to bring it up with you again because this is just, I know it has been a priority of yours, that we've now gotten this $2 million in. We're going to get another round of testing done. And we've had, 11 CODIS hits now that are resulting in reopened cases for these backlog sexual assault kits, correct?
That's right, and we've done a couple of those announcements in Springfield because we've had such great cooperation from the Springfield PD. The chief there's on our sexual assault, clearing that backlog, our task force, those kits. And just by way of background, we did an inventory a year ago and found that over 6,000 untested sexual assault kits sitting on shelves across the state. And so we put together this group with victims advocate groups, with law enforcement, hospitals. Okay, what are best practices moving forward? How can we have a tracking system to make sure that victims and law enforcement know where these untested kits are at? And let's get them tested. So we've had these events. The first one was in Springfield, all across the state. We've sent over 1,500 to a lab to be tested. We got another round of funding, as you're referencing, we announced in Springfield last week, that allow us to test another 900. We're going to be working now with those CODIS hits as they come back. So as they're tested and we see DNA hits in the system of known, prior offenders, we're now making those referrals to local law enforcement. Some have been made in Southwest Missouri and Springfield. Now we're going to be working with those law enforcement agencies and prosecutors to make sure that we get justice for these victims. And so at the heart of all of this is fighting for the rule of law, fighting for law and order, and fighting for victims. And that's really a key component of my office, and I'm proud to be able to work on some of those things. And Springfield in Southwest Missouri has really been at the heart of those efforts.
Yeah, Missouri's Attorney General, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer, Eric Schmitt. Eric, thanks for everything you do for Missourians all across our great state. Safe travels today, and we'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
We'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.